Hi there. I'm TV's The Internet's Forrest Valkai, and today I'm here with my friends at the Atheist community of Austin, where we challenge religion and offer an atheist perspective through call-in shows, debates, and education, all with an open and inclusive atmosphere. And today, I'd like to share with you some of the arguments that we atheists are just tired of hearing. Arguments that are weak and lazy and played out, and frankly, show that you've never actually talked to an atheist before. We're going to start with this one.
Number one.
Prove there's no God. Well, hidden inside that statement is the implication that it's okay to believe something if it hasn't been proven false. Is that really something that you want to stick with? It's going to lead you to contradictory beliefs. For example, prove that the center of Mars is not made out of marshmallow. Also, prove that the center of Mars is not made out of hazelnut. You can't prove either of those, so should you believe both? Obviously not. That's going to lead you to contradictory beliefs. The center of Mars is made out of both marshmallow and hazelnut, and that's no good. And so when you ask me to prove that there's no God, what you're saying to me is that you're going to believe God exists until I can prove otherwise. Well, let me ask you this. What if I told you that last week I did prove that there was no God? Should you believe me that I did that? What if you can't prove that I didn't make that proof? Should you believe me that I did prove that there's no God? I don't think you want to stick with this line of reasoning anymore.
Number two.
You need God to be moral. Really? I mean, from my understanding of human history, there's been a lot of people that haven't believed in God or have believed in other gods far before the Jewish people ever did, right? Like, the Jewish people did not invent the concept of God. And I would even offer to wager that there are a lot of people pre-Judaism that have had even more interesting constructs of what is right and what is wrong. I think the fact that people have these ideas of what is right and what is wrong doesn't necessarily make it objective, but makes it something that human beings in general are interested in. So I don't think Christians have a monopoly on exactly what's right and what's wrong. And I don't think that they should be the ones to designate their version of what's right and what's wrong just because they feel it's the right thing to do. I believe in having a version of right and wrong that's informed through science, through experience, through human interests, rather than the interests of religious authorities, institutions, and people who, quite frankly, don't have my best interests in mind.
Number three.
You just want to sin. Well, what is sin? Sin is a crime against God, an affront, an offense. But I don't believe in God. It's a crime against a victim that doesn't exist. How can I commit a crime against someone that doesn't exist? So sin as a concept doesn't exist for me. I don't want to sin. I can't sin. And if you're saying that I don't believe in God because I want to do immoral things, then no. That goes into the whole you atheists can't have morality, which is also a silly argument. Of course I know what's wrong and right, or at least have a decent idea. And I have my own set of values and goals, ethics and morals. And I don't need a man in the sky wagging his finger and saying, no, don't do that, for me to act in a way that is beneficial to myself and to those around me.
Number four.
You can't have knowledge without God. I think a lot of people have engaged online with presuppositionalists, and that they'll run some type of tag argument or maybe some biconditional statement, like you can only have knowledge if and only if the Christian God exists, or God is the necessary and sufficient preconditions for knowledge, intelligibility, and whatever they throw into the bucket of transcendentals. I've had frustrations because I think a lot of people are willing to die on a hill for a position when the claim is that you can only ground these things if the Christian God exists, which requires an additional argument. If someone just comes up to me and presents this first premise of tag to me, that God is the necessary precondition for knowledge and intelligibility, I mean, the proper response to that is, why should I believe that? Do you have an additional argument where you take that premise, put it as the conclusion of a new argument, and generate that with new reasons that you could offer me? Imagine I'm somebody where in the tactic that is usually present, They want to focus on your worldview, the failures, the inadequacy of like certain epistemic problems, or you can't ground X, Y, or Z. A bunch of really dubious assumptions that you might not even be committed to. But imagine like you really did just you sat there and you go, my view, I can't do these things. Maybe I don't have a good view. Could you help me? Imagine this person's like in shambles and they're like having this existential crisis and they're like, holy shit, my worldview is flawed. I don't know how to count for X, Y, and Z. Bring me to Jesus, because the inference can't follow from the inadequacy of my view to that only the Christian God can. You have all of your work left ahead of you. And so I imagine the situation where somebody's like desperately wanting to know the truth, and this is pointed out in the dialectic that this person can't ground whatever. What help is it to them when they're begging you, please give me this account that only the Christian God can solve the problem of the criterion, that can provide a count of knowledge that doesn't have counterexamples that plague philosophy, right? You've apparently solved all of these epistemic problems, all of these problems that we could ever think of. But I've yet to hear what gets me to the actual dance, what provides some support for that claim. And if you really wanted me to come to Jesus, it seems like what you can't do is say, your TV is broken, so therefore my TV turns on. And in fact, it's the only TV that can turn on. So I want to offer an extension to any presuppositionalist that I'm willing to hear your reasons. And imagine me as that broken down person who really can't justify anything. Take me to Christianity, because I guarantee when you bring this up to presuppositionalists, they will not have an argument that will lead to that only the Christian God can ground these things.
Number 5.
Why do you care what other people believe? I do care that people believe things for good reasons, and that's something that I find important for myself. And I think that for my family and the people and my friends and the people that I love around me, that it's important that other people care when the other person believes something that's not correct. So why wouldn't that extend to anyone else? But truth be told, if you had your beliefs and they didn't end up impacting other people, I would care a lot less. But unfortunately, many of the things that here in the United States, and Texas in particular, there's a big move against the LGBTQ community, a big move to erase anything that teaches about diversity or the horrors of the past of even slavery. And so to me, it's important what other people believe, because how they got there is all the other bad decisions and viewpoints that led up to that. And that's why it's important to me. Because yes, I'm a selfish person and I want my life to be good. I want the people that I love to be good. And I want the people surrounding me to have a life that's good for them. And I just don't believe that many of the beliefs out there that people have, especially when they come from these fundamentalist positions, are healthy for anyone, even them.
Number 6.
Aren't you scared of hell? How scared are you of all the other hells on offer? Plenty of other religions have hells that you could be going to, and even Christianity alone has over 40,000 denominations. 40,000 different types of Christianity. So even if you are a devout and practicing Christian, there's about 39,000 other kinds of Christian out there that think you're doing it wrong, that think that you're going to hell, and even the 999 whatever left over that think that everybody's getting it right. Well, guess what? There's plenty of other kinds of Christians that think that those guys are going to hell too. When you stop and consider why you're not afraid of all the other potential hells, even the ones just within your own religion, you'll understand why I'm not afraid of your hell either. It just doesn't exist.
Number 7.
Without God, life has no meaning. That's crazy. My life is filled with meaning. I had 2 wonderful children and raised them. I run my own business. My life is wonderful. My life is not a bad thing, like a lot of theists believe atheist lives are. I have a really, really wonderful, fulfilled, enriched life, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy it without God.
Number 8.
Atheism leads to Stalinism, communism, or other awful things. I really don't think many people understand the concept of communism in the correct form. So let's take a little bit of time to examine what that means. First of all, communism is a form of government where there are no socioeconomic classes. Everybody in the community is supposed to contribute to that community, and everybody also reaps the benefits of that community. By that definition alone, we have not had a single communist government in history, period. I don't care what your school teachers tell you, but no government and no country has achieved that level of society. What we see more often is these communist governments form in which one party takes over. Now, while one party may be a product of a communist government, that one party actually exists in a class of its own. Do we actually think that the leaders of the communist governments today are living at the same standards of the people that they rule over? Absolutely not. In fact, they're incredibly oppressive. The best form of communism that we can look to is maybe what we saw in the Native American or indigenous tribes before they were touched by Western interference, where everybody worked together collectively. They still had a hierarchy. They still had rulers. But everybody reaped the benefits of the society as a whole, and there was no class system. Well, we don't see that today, and we never have. So to say that atheism leads to that is just basically incorrect, because we have never seen that happen. However, I will say that we do have a lot of socialist governments. And when it comes to socialism, yes, communism is a form of socialism. However, socialism is a little bit more what we can expect. One party ruling over everything and controlling all of the resources, distributing those resources evenly. But that we know doesn't happen either. In any case, we see a lot of socialist countries that have high atheist populations. And you must ask yourself, well, atheism must lead to socialist countries. That's actually not true. Okay, so let's take a look at Laos, for example. Laos has over 70% of the population identifying with a religion. Cuba and the United States together, while Cuba might be a communist country, the United States is, of course, a capitalist country, both at 78%. So how do you explain that? How do you explain atheism leading to communism when an entirely religious country is a capitalist country and not one that's socialist or communist? China, Russia, 40 and 50% respectively. And the thing about that is that when you look at the people that are not affiliated with a religion, they say things like we are unaffiliated or we worship folk religions. And that's just a way of escaping a religious dogma or escaping an alignment with a religion, because that alignment with that religion challenges the party in power. And that's not good in a socialist government. The socialist government usually comes down and oppresses those that challenge its power, and that is why we see so many members of those societies identifying as unaffiliated or not religious. Because who wants to be on the receiving end of that oppression? Take the Uyghur Muslims in China, where 1 million of them are in concentration camps. Take the poverty that is so synonymous with all of the socialist governments that we have seen throughout history. That's what socialism looks like, and it's not because of atheism. It's really a product of socialism and oppression.
Number 9.
What if you're wrong? If I'm wrong, then one of two things is possibly true. Either I was created by this master of the universe with the intellect and the reason and the logic and the mental faculties that I have that led me to the conclusion that I've come to, that God probably doesn't exist. And if that God does exist, that God knows exactly what it would take to convince me that God exists. And yet that information has not yet come to my attention. So if that's not the truth, then the other possibility is that I was created to not believe in God, to go to hell for not believing in that God. And even if that God is real, I don't want to worship it. So I don't care if I'm wrong.
Number 10.
Why do you hate God? Well, put simply, I don't. I don't think this thing actually exists, and so I don't have any feelings towards something that I don't believe is real. What I do hate, though, is this conception of God, this character that has been portrayed throughout many stories and many communities. And the reason that I hate that concept is because of the atrocities that it has led people to do. The outright horror and disgusting nature that it has brought out in so many people throughout history. That's what I hate. But you can't hate something that you don't think is real. I don't hate fairies. But if fairies were out there telling people to murder their neighbors or to hate queer people, well, then I'd hate the concept of fairies, just like I hate the concept of God.
And now it's time for some bloopers.
Hi there. I'm TV's The Internet's Forrest Valkai, and I'm here at the Atheist community of Austin, where we challenge religious belief, offer an atheist perspective, and invite... Nope. What? What? What are you inviting? Where we challenge This is the worst thing that I've ever done, is this moment right here. Why can't pirates recite the alphabet? They always get lost at sea. Through live call-in shows, open debates, public debates, not what the fuck is an open debate? What does that even mean, Forrest? You weird bastard. We might be here all day. This might be the whole show. It might be me fucking up and giving you nothing but bad takes and vocal fry. That might be what we do, and if that is what it is, then that's fine. Hey there. What do you call it when you die and you come back as a cowboy? Reincarnation.
What makes it okay for you to... You don't have... All right, we'll get there. As long as I have fewer flubs than Forrest, I'll be okay. All right.
I don't think it's physically possible to have more than Forrest did. So
okay,
you're good.
Well, then I'm good then. All right, locked in.
I once spent my entire life savings on pasta. It was worth every penny. This is helping. You have no idea how much stupid dad jokes are helping right now. What do you call a book club that's been stuck on the same book for way too long? Church.
I'm Secular Rarity, and my friends here at the Atheist community of Austin... Oh, wait. I'm with my friends. I'm Secular Rarity with my friends. Okay. That's kind of a lie, but that's all right. We don't have to tell people that, you fucking assholes.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Sorry it's taking so long. I'm just keep rewriting this in my head over and over and getting stuck on certain words.
I get paid the same whether or not you do it 5 times or 50 times, so I'm
Cool. Cool. But that's fucking silly. One more from the top. I'm gonna become more succinct, and I swear to glob, this will be the good one. Why did the cop go to work early? He wanted to beat the crowd. And some poor bastard has to go back and watch this. Has to sit through just me fucking up and fumbling. This exact moment, someone is scrolling through this and saying, Jesus Christ, why won't this man shut up? It's because I feel as awkward as you do watching this. That's why.
Get out of my head, Forrest.
Yep. See what I mean? This is my way of dealing with it on this side, and your way of dealing on that side is just to delete all of this and never show it to anyone. I'm so fucking sorry, Greg. Give me one more.
Nope.
What will it take for you to start opening your eyes, to start questioning the bullshit everyone around you buys? You think it's any of your business what goes on between my thighs? I wonder when we'll be rid of your eyes.
Watch Talk Heathen live Sundays at 1 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTTH and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/callth.